The following audio is via a Skype call.
You are listening to Vibrant Purposeful Living Radio with Lou Paradise. Tune in monthly with Lou and Dr. Pat on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Lou is an expert in pain management, educational health, and wellness, and the innovator of the leading pain relief cream, Purposeful. Lou's passion is to help everyone experience positive solutions for life. Negatives are just positives waiting to happen. Awaken the vibrant life within you. Tune in today.
Oh my goodness. Hey everybody, welcome. This is, Vibrant Purposeful Living, Lou Paradise, my friend, my colleague. This is your new way of living. I'm Dr. Pat. I get to hang out here. And one of the things I want to say about Lou is that, you know, when you all hear me talk about the fact that I'm playing table tennis, that I'm doing things in the world, I just want to remind everybody, once upon a time, I shared my healing journey. And, you know, people say I should do a whole show of that to really share it, because I only give snippets of it. Mm-hmm. But one of the reasons that I'm actually here today, despite the doctors, even like yesterday, saying to me, they don't know how I'm walking. One of the reasons I'm here is, first of all, I don't believe that we have to settle for or compromise our health. But number two, I met a guy a bunch of years ago at the Northwest Women's Show, and he was handing out samples. I mean, hundreds of samples in these little packets. And I told him who we were, and he gave me like big bags. And the things he gave me were these samples of Purposeful. Now, fast forward to where we are now, and there isn't just one Purposeful product. There's an entire line. But Lou's message, Lou Paradise, his message has been about health, it's been about wellness, and it's been about vibrant, purposeful living. Today's show is about self-care and self-love. And the reason that this is so exciting, that when my doctor asked me yesterday or commented, I don't know if it was like asking me or if he was like making like a little snide like joke and stuff. If you want to know why I'm walking, why I'm vibrant, why I'm purposeful, there is a whole scenario, but I will tell you this. Purposeful and using this natural product, which we're probably not going to talk about today because that's not on our agenda. It is the thing that I said to him, every chiropractor doctor's office should have samples of this to give to people, because self-care and self-love has to be the place you start so that you're even open enough to knowing that you deserve to take care of yourself. As I said before, Lou is beyond amazing. You know, this is a show which I'm hoping he's going to move over and do a show every week on this. Love to see him host his own show. I think that's the plan we have. But beyond all of that, he is an inventor. He is an author. He is a speaker. You know, this is the first time since I've known him for 15 years that he is out there as Lou Paradise, this amazing coach, mentor. I can't tell you how many hours I have spent on the phone with him when I was the skeptic of skeptics. But today's show, he's going to share why, if we don't start at the beginning of loving ourselves, game over. Lou, great to have you.
And as always, you know, making me blush, for goodness sakes. It may improve my complexion, and I might grow some more hair or something like that. But at the end of the day, you are darling, and thank you for the kind words and the consideration. And, you know, to me, it's like the most essential thing about everything in life really starts and ends, in a sense, with love and caring, appreciation, respect, valuing each other, right? Mm-hmm. And thank you for your testimonial, more so to me, that it continues to prove our body is an absolute miracle. And right, and we give it what it needs, help it support the process of healing. The whole entire thing that we think about as our lives, you know, because it's not a dress rehearsal. This is your life, you know. So we got to get on with it. We got to get with it. We don't need permission from anybody to do the things we do, but we do need to kind of reflect on how is it that where people are not at peace and not happy and not joyous, what in the world is interfering with that? And how do you get to self-care and self-love in the most essential ways about really, really understanding the you? Who are you? And maybe you've never even taken the time to think about that. It's like, well, I'm a mom, or I'm a dad, or I'm a coach, or I'm, an architect. But that may be what you do, but who are you? I mean, and what are you doing for your own happiness and peace? And if you're not healthy and happy, if you don't start with happiness and devotion to, how do you bring yourself to the point where you now become acutely attuned that being happy unlocks everything? Having love, right? And like we're going to talk about, self-love is not about selfishly loving yourself. It's unconditionally loving yourself for with your faults and everything else with it. Love who you are so you can be the other who you need to be, for goodness sakes. And don't let anybody discourage you from doing that. And when people do, that's where I think people wind up in lots and lots of trouble and can't get to a healing journey. They can't get to peace. They can't get to happiness and all the things that their life was meant to be. So we appreciate I appreciate this, obviously, this time with you more than I could tell you, my dear friend.
But let's talk about what you just said, though, Lou, because it's really critical. I've done talks for years, speeches, workshops, I've done it. And when I start out, people are stunned by the first sentence I share. And it has to do with, I know. I say something like, you know what, I'm talking to all you guys, and you've paid me a pretty good penny to be up here. And I just want to say, I really am a girl from the projects in the Bronx whose mother committed suicide when she was 6, who was homeless at 17 and arrested at 19. And I said, do you still want to hear from me? And the bottom line is, I had to come to terms with that part of me and love that part of me. Now I look back and I can joke about it.
Sure.
I talk about the Italian curse now, that I thought for years it was an Italian curse, that all the women in my family, all the women that I was close to, they would just die. They would just die. My mentor died in 1999. I was thinking, don't be my friend. But the message you're bringing today is we have to really pursue the truth of who we are and our true passions. You did it, Lou. You did it. Maybe you did it out of a pain. I know I did it out of a pain, but you still did it. How did you do it?
Well, the one thing for me in life experiences is negatives really are just positives waiting to happen.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, at the end of the day, if we take and realize that, well, look, negative and positive is kind of the opposite side of the same coin. When we run into trouble, we got two things we have to be very careful about. Don't doubt yourself. Don't be so afraid that you're paralyzed and you can't do anything. Don't believe the naysayers and the doubters and all of the rest of the people. They'll be around forever and ever and ever. And they've been around for a long time. And we got all kinds of crazy stuff going on in the political scene today that just kind of, says, whoa, how in the world did that happen?
Even Linda is like, don't talk to me.
And so half the time we think about, if we don't ask ourselves the question, well, what is holding us back from being at peace, for having the happiness that we deserve? People weren't born to be in pain, and they weren't born to be victims of things that are being held in bondage for other things, or living up, having an expectation from someone else's that is creating your story to live out your destiny. How in the world can you do that? And for me, it was between Vietnam and the Marine Corps and combat service taught me a tremendous lesson. Number one, the Vietnamese people are some of the most beautiful, amazing, astounding people on the planet Earth. There was a terrible injustice that got played upon these folks. We happen to be of conscious mind and in the moment understanding mindfulness, even at a young age. I was only 18 years old when I was in Vietnam, 18 and 19, spent a couple of years there. And to gather ourselves in what it is that makes things positive, you have to be positive. You're going to come into the most negative circumstances, the most hellacious, the worst case scenario for humans at the worst levels. And if your mind isn't such where you can offset that and know that in advance, which is hard to even train for, if you will, you'll never know how to finally look at even those circumstances. You can bring something positive, something loving, something caring. Even in those circumstances, people ask me, well, why isn't it that you didn't suffer a lot of PTSD or a lot of other emotional fallouts and setbacks? And as I think my mindset...
Why is that? Why? Yeah, I want to know that.
You want to know the answer to that question?
Why do you think that is? Did you have angels along the way? People that, become your partner, like people like Aurora? For me, why do you think that's true, Lou? I'm so curious about that.
I think the one reality in the initial part of...
Are you looking to grow spiritually, expand your consciousness, increase psychic abilities? Well, there's a free app for that. Pure Light offers audios that transmit high spiritual frequencies to help you awaken to your full potential. Hundreds of audios created by some of the world's top energy healers, and many are free. Enjoy the latest in conscious technology and download Pure Light today. To find out more, visit purelight.audio.com.
Take your own journey with the angels with Claire Candy Huff's Heaven Sent Guided Angel Meditation CD. Letting go of concerns and living in the now. This beautiful CD walks listeners through practical exercises to help free them from the burdens, worries, and concerns of daily life.
Walking a quarter of the way across the bridge, you see a bright, emerald green light and sense a loving presence. This is Archangel Raphael's green healing energies, nourishing and revitalizing you. Take a moment now to bathe in this green healing light.
Giving you much more than just relaxation and stress release, this wonderfully narrated CD provides vivid visualization, soothing and inspiring music, and an angel's choir that will bring you peace, clarity, and a newfound awareness. Visit angelhealinghouse.com today.
Tune in to Synergenetic Living Radio, where Rick and Grace Paris discuss the synergenetic way of life, what it means to truly change your perspective in life, what it means to take control of your life and manifest your true desires. For more information on Rick and Grace Paris and Synergenetic Living, check out synergeticliving.com. Get clear on the life you desire and the current life you are creating and what is between the two. Synergenetic Living, living life loud.
Are you looking for the perfect setting for your next workshop or retreat? At Spirit Fire Meditative Retreat Center, cultivating consciousness is what we do best. Our guests count on us to create an atmosphere that supports serenity and well-being. We lead from the heart and create space for the mind. Freshly prepared meals designed with local and organic ingredients, 95 acres of beautiful woods and pastures, and a facility built with green in mind. This is what you'll find at Spirit Fire. For more information, visit spiritfireretreatcenter.com. To find answers to life's questions, you need to look within yourself. Dr. Glenna Rice brings your questionable conversations on Transformation Talk Radio each month. Tune in each month for insight into how you can live up to your full potential. Dr. Glenna is a physical therapist, certified Access Consciousness, and Access Body Class facilitator. How does it get any better than this? For more information on Dr. Glenna Rice and her work, visit glennarice.com.
Oh, boy. Oh,
we
my
need
God.
Lou. we need Lou.
Oh.
And we got him back, too.
We got him back. Lou Paradise, everybody, joining me here today because he is the host of Vibrant, Purposeful Living Radio. This is your new way of living. And, you're going to hear a lot more about this radio show, about Lou, the people he's going to bring to the conversation, and what this means to really live a vibrant, purposeful life. This is not just something that he and I are talking from some kind of academic book, or we're thinking about what do we want to say to people. No, this is really about combining life experience with all the elements of what it meant to pursue our true passion. Now, I will say this. When people ask me about the earlier years of my life, and they ask me if I've always stayed on purpose, this is what Lou is going to answer this question. They asked me about this. The Donna Summer song explains what my purpose was. in my 20s, and in my 30s. It was all about the disco. It was all about the fun. You know, I worked for a living so that I could go party. Now, having said that, I did actually hold down a job. Lou, great to have you here.
As well, my darling, as well. So are we back on the radio, or are we back or on the phone?
We're back on the radio. We're back.
All right.
We're back.
All righty.
I want to know, how did you do this? You know, given what happened to you, coming back from war, given what happened to you, you know, they do say that sometimes the greatest pain we have turns into our greatest possibilities. But how did you go from your experience, the pain in your body? Lou, did we lose you again?
We lost him again. I don't know what's going on. Oh, he's back on. No, he's back on Skype now. He's smarter than I am.
All right.
The boy is lost. I don't think so, Benny. I don't.
Oh my God,
my brother.
Thanks for reconnecting.
Thank you. I thought you were hanging up because you still don't want to answer that question.
No, hey, look, you know, there's a lot of secrets we have, but that's not one of them.
All right, tell us, how did you do it? How did you go from pain to purpose?
One of the primary things for me is that I knew the reason why I was in Vietnam. I knew the reason. It was a destiny piece. I've been in this situation where I hated injustice. I hated the fact of what happened to Native American people. When I was a little kid, I found out a story about the Chinese people, found out stories about African people. I found out all kinds of things about, whoa, man, how in the world did that happen? You know, what possessed the world and mindsets to be so damaging and so divisive and so insidious, really, about how we reduce people to something less than human. And so when Vietnam came, I was like, in my spiritual sense of my journey, in my universal journey, my universe journey, I was looking, I'm saying, I'm supposed to play a part here somehow. I had no idea what it was going to be, and had no idea it was going to be Vietnam specifically. And then when I went, I was prepared. I'm saying, doesn't it sound like the injustice that occurred to people here in our country, indigenous people? And these are indigenous here, they're indigenous from Asia, they're indigenous from Africa. Didn't the same kind of wacky, wanky stuff happen to them? So maybe it's my destiny, if time and space continuum, and if God Almighty says, hey, look, I got some plans for you, brother, and you're gonna execute those, and you're going to maybe, just maybe, if you do something good, if you really put it out there, you're gonna have to risk your life to do this, though. See, so that's the deal. You got to risk your life to do this. But if you trust in the fact that this is your destiny, don't worry about your life, because your life is going to be preserved somehow. But you're going to go and maybe put good energy into that circumstance and possibly reverse some of the terrible things that happened to somebody else maybe 100 or 200 years before. And that may sound like strange and crazy to people, but I'm tuned into the consciousness of the fact that I was purposely here. I'm purposely here, like all of us are. Not special, I don't think, in any way. I'm just the person who decided I'm digging in. I'm going to find out what makes me tick. I'm going to find out what's going to define who I am. And I'm going to do the kind of work that's necessary, being the kind of mission-driven person I am, to go to a place like Vietnam. And, of course, in the arduous duty, anybody who knows anything about combat duty, and of course helicopter combat duty, knows that you get banged up. Oh, yeah. Now I'm an Italian boy from New York, so I may be a little slow, but banged up is better than the other side of things. Yeah. And so my spiritual sense of my understanding was, I was confident that I was going to somehow get through this whole thing. I was going to put my very best out there. Pat, I don't know if I've ever told you this, but even after a combat mission where there were quote unquote enemy soldiers who were down, not dead, but down. Yeah. We would literally go and pick them up and triage them just like our own troops, showing the kind of love, showing the kind of say, hey, wait a minute, man, you're in there like us. We got put together here. None of us should be doing this to each other, but we are. What can we do to show each other how much we care and what being human is about, looking at you as a human being and showing you, hey, we really do care about this. And if we could settle this, we could tell our governments to go take a hike, get out of this deal, stop hurting folks, get on with helping and loving and caring about people and pursuing our true cause and mission. And basically that's how I went from the pain situation was now I'm fortunate to have this natural medicine background that was a good 17 or 18 years in. I had Venom Research's medicine, which I was on to.
Yeah.
I got these crazy hyperextended injuries in my hands that felt like I was sticking my fingers into an electrical socket. Homeopathy, I wasn't even aware.
Well, yeah, that wasn't even a word. The homeopathy, the whole numbness, the fibromyalgia, the nerve endings. We didn't have any language for that.
No, there wasn't exactly. And so my instinct, again, in my intuition, which has always been very strong for me, led me to the fact that I'm saying, well, what's happened here is you've learned all this stuff. You've put this contribution out there that, to me that's what I'm supposed to do. So I can get thanked or appreciated for that. Now you're going to test what your knowledge base is, because knowledge is not power. So Napoleon Hill said this very well. Unless it's right, unless it's information that's something vibrant and something quantified that you can apply to your life and make something good happen out of it. And now you're going to prove whether indeed you understand about healing the way you've been studying. Healing is the ultimate form of relieving pain. I would have never known how people suffer, because to me, pain was like, that's cool. You're still alive. Keep on going. Unless your arm or your leg is dangling off and you got some real trouble, keep going, keep moving. You'll figure that out. And you come, and then the purpose for me to be there, and then the purpose for me to sustain in suffering was I made it temporary, or the higher spiritual power made it temporary, that I could figure a way to make a product that had everything to do with how the body actually heals itself, so I could prove absolutely that healing is the ultimate form of relieving pain. And now I go from being cured, if you will, by my own invention, which was kind of cool. Didn't know it was going to. I didn't even realize that nothing like what I was doing even existed on the planet in the form I made it. And then had this opportunity for the last 5 decades, but for our company and for the last 25 years, to transform people's lives. Talking about transformational radio. This is such a natural spot for us to be, because that's what we do. That's what you've been doing all your life. That's what I've been doing all my life. And we both got jammed up early in life in some different ways. And why do you want to talk to us? Because we're probably the best examples, I think, and not to give us any more credit than it's due, of people like everyone else who went out there, got hammered in all kinds of different ways, and came up and said, you know what? I'm not letting that negative stuff get me down. That's not going to define my life. I'm not going to be sitting around in pain and whimpering and relying on somebody to give me some meds that aren't going to work, or some shots that aren't going to work. If I believe the human body is a miracle, well, let me go and prove it to myself. And here we are. So kind of a thumbnail sketch. And look, and we didn't get disrupted or disconnected. So the negative forces they didn't want to hear that story out there.
They wanted you to get that answer going.
That's right.
They wanted you to get that answer going. But I think there's something interesting that you shared, and I want to get back to it really quickly for a minute. Our understanding of history, and I mean history from different places. Our understanding of history, I got it from my grandparents. And what I mean by that is I had grandparents that had to flee a country because of communist influence. They had to flee a country because of the influence of the Third Reich. They had to do that. They had to leave their home because of that, but they fought. When we come back, the question is, how do we understand the essence of self-care? How do we implement self-love? And how do we do that for ourselves first as a way for us to take action on our purpose? We're going to take a short break, everybody. We'll be right back.
Golden Otter Divinations Radio, where the metaphysical meets the mainstream with Autumn Seibel. Tune in the first Friday every month at 9 a.m. Pacific as Autumn, educator, health coach, and medium, explores metaphysical and mainstream strategies on how to elevate your level of conscious living. Draw in the abundance that is yours by divine right. For more information about working with Autumn, visit goldenotter.us. That's golden like the precious metal and otter like the precious animal.us.
Stop thinking and start acting. And I'll tell you what repeated thinking does. It doesn't help you in creating your dream life. It actually creates a lot of unconscious stress. So remember how it feels when you think of something, but you don't do it. I want to call the doctor. I don't. I want to read a book. I don't. I want to go see a friend. I don't. I want to go on a diet. I don't. So there's many things where you think of something and you don't do it. And what happens is that when you don't do it, it creates a stress. Also undermines your own strength and confidence in yourself. So it's really important to get going. You have a thought, act it out, and you're done.
Are you ready to make deep, lasting, transformative changes? Then tune in each month on Transformation Talk Radio for Susanna Jameson's hit show, Love, Light, Sound Radio. During her show, Susanna inspires and supports spiritually and health-conscious individuals all over the world to reconnect with their heart, their inner peace, and balance. Love, Light, Sound Radio. Transformation happens here now. For more information, visit SusannaJameson.com.
This is Debbie Pokornik with a moment for standing in your power. Self-control begins with noticing how different feelings present themselves in your body. When you're feeling sensitive, for example, your chin might quiver, tears might well up in your eyes, and your voice might catch in your throat. Anger, on the other hand, might appear as tension in your jaw, back, or arms, along with clenched fists, heat in the upper torso, scowling, and a strong desire to yell. The more aware you become of your body cues, the easier it will be to recognize when you're on the road to disaster. Choose the emotions that cause you problems, then start noticing and logging the body cues that come with them.
For information and to work with Debbie, visit empoweringnrg.com. That's empoweringnrg.com.
Dream on, fly high, and live adventurously on The Laura Meeks Show. Tune in each month on Transformation Talk Radio as host Laura Meeks guides you in finding your unique gifts and bringing them to life. As a certified life coach, speaker, and veteran bomber pilot for the U.S. Air Force, Laura knows how to follow a dream. She is ready to support you so you can dream on, fly high, and live adventurously. For more information on Laura and her work, visit flyhighliving.com.
So let's dance, let's dance, let's dance, let's dance, let's dance, let's dance tonight.
Oh, Donna Summer. That's it. Hey, for you guys out there, Donna Summer, yeah, absolutely phenomenal back in the day, as Benny likes to say. But one thing you may not know about her is, first of all, she died way before I think she should have. And she is a phenomenal artist. So people have asked, where did she go? Where did she go after disco? Well, it's exactly what Lou Paradise is talking about today. She went and stayed on purpose. And one of the little known things about her was she loved art. So yeah, Google her. Mm-hmm. And that's what we're talking about. For more information about Lou, everybody, go to louparadise.com. How do people find out about Topperson? Send them right to the website, Lou?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And if you put Lou, L-O-U, into the browser, if you're looking to purchase, you will automatically, because you've heard this show and you heard the fabulous Dr. Pat, you will automatically get a discount. And I think it's 30% off. So it's going to be about, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. So, Lou, look, it is the question of how do you go from self-loathing to self-loving? Because if you're not going to go from one to the other or get to the place of self-love, it's going to be really difficult to live your true purpose, I think. I think it'll be impossible.
No, there's no question. I think what happens is, people are so busy. They're getting hammered every way. It's an uncertain world. Yeah. We have a lot of things that are very troubling and stressful. even if they've been around a long time, and we know that sometimes think about negative things, and negative things have been around us forever. And there are people who have had situations that we could say and look at in a motivational sense of, hey, how bad do I have it compared to that person? I mean, I remember back looking at or Think and Grow Rich and the stories about Guillermo Marconi. Marconi got institutionalized because he was saying, I can get voices to travel through the air. And they thought they actually threw him in the institution for a while.
Yes.
Right? Right now, if he stopped, in his experiments, goodness gracious, he was experimenting for 8 or 10 years just to get the basic technology. He believed in something so much. His dream was to create something that hadn't been done before, but more essentially that it could be done. And and his friends were the ones who told the institutional folks, the doctors, that he should be institutionalized because he's crazy. He's going to send voices through the air. I mean, so we know the voices through the air are what we're doing right now, commonly known, right? First as the radio, and then, of course, as cell phones and everything else. So imagine if he was left with the process of his experience being negatively looked at, even by the people who cared. These are dream stealers without even realizing it. They thought there was something wrong with him. They didn't realize that his mind has worked in such a way because he had this big idea and this big dream, and he was going to pursue it no matter what. Well, part of that process by that, and there's other stories. I mean, goodness gracious, Albert Einstein's parents were told when he was a young child that he was retarded and he needed to be institutionalized. Yeah. Well, so what does that mean? So it means that if you're different and if you're not exactly what everybody else is, that makes you, somebody who needs to be, put down like a horse or locked up or whatever. All it means is you are in your own sense of who you are. And if you haven't reached that place and you're letting things hold you back by needing to have other people's approval, worrying, oh, my God, I don't want to say this because it may hurt their feelings. I mean, I know people that, if they're texting you and you text them back and you don't put the normal emojis in their text or something, they'll call you and say, oh, my God, are you okay? Are you mad at me? Right? And then we give them the lesson. Then we give them the life lesson. What in the heck made you think that you have to be responsible for anybody's feelings or anything, not to suggest that we're going to go off and trample on them, when we have the choice and the power to do something magnificent. So the why we're here, it's like, Pat, the two things, sometimes we talked about this before, and they're more important dates to folks. You can list a lot of ones, but the ones I think are probably kind of give us this moment to kind of look and analyze them. The moment that you're born is one date. Well, of course, if you're not born, a whole bunch of things can happen to you if you ain't born yet. Right. And the time you figure, and the time you figure out what your purpose truly is. And when you do, you should be on fire with that. Because that's the whole purpose of your life. So you don't let anyone else create a story about your life that now you're living up to someone else's destiny and someone else's story when you have your own life story. How many people don't think, oh my goodness, no, I'm supposed to be subordinate to this person? How many times goes it to the extremes where women more so and men occasionally, from what I understand, are abused, physically and emotionally abused, and think at a point like, oh my God, no, it's just my fault and I'm supposed to be abused because this crazy maniacal person I'm with is supposed to saying, are you kidding me? Toss that dude out the window or wherever you got to do to get rid of them and move on your life, because you should not be denied your dreams. You should be not be denied your peace and your happiness, and you have the power to change that now. And sometimes it may take a little coaching, a little kind of good sounding board, a little mirroring, from people that you can trust. Have a mentor, have a coach. Have somebody who's an accountability partner. You were talking about Linda, saying, hey, look, I'm right, or like I do with Aurora. But all of those pieces are fundamental to what we a lot of times miss, and it's not your fault that you miss them. It's like we sometimes miss these fundamental things that cause us to be in that kind of a dilemma where we can't seem to work out of it. And, of course, if you don't have the mindset, you don't have the one thing that has always been relevant is if you've got, maybe you're a victim of bad habits. You know, we're all a victim or all creatures of habit. Are your habits good or not? Are they making you happy or not?
Right.
And all of those things, I think, are very relevant to this conversation.
Right. And, you know, Lou, one of the things, too, is people wonder about their joy, you know, their happiness. And it's hard to explain this, right, in a logical way. But intuitively, we know when we are showing up in life in a way that doesn't support our joy or doesn't support our happiness. Now, I'm not saying that you go through life and that there aren't times where you do things that you really don't want to do. Of course, there are going to be times like that. But the question is, those things that direct your life in general, how are we choosing those, right? How are we choosing those? Are we giving any of those items a breath of air? Are we breathing life into them? Because that really is how we get the ball rolling. You know, you have to put one step in front of the other. And the question then becomes, right, Lou, is are you willing to honestly and truthfully explore all of what you love and then pick just one thing and do something with it?
That's an extremely important point. You know, love, truly, unconditional love, you know, it's a very difficult thing. We're wired to be together as humans. But it's a very difficult thing for people to love other people unconditionally, even though I think we do our very best to making sure there is no conditions. Because when you love somebody unconditionally, that means that it's purely something that's a beautiful connection between you and someone else. A lot of times, folks don't realize that unconditional love really does start with us. And it unlocks every door of happiness and peace. It gives us the moments that we need so that our life experience and the affirmation of hardship and failure is actually, I know it's not cool when we're going through it. It propels us. It conditions us, right? And what have we learned our most deep side of the degree of our spiritual sense of center, and most essentially in that, our character and our resolve and what we're willing to do, because on your way to having your dreams fulfilled, you know, these affirmation experiences of failure actually get us closer. All they're saying is, look, bad forces in the world want to keep good people from doing incredibly good things. And it often starts with our own dilemma of believing doubts or having doubts and being fearful. Well, you've got to approach, right? And so getting the pursuit going says, when have I thought about, when was the last time somebody said something encouraging and inspiring to me to feel like I was appreciated and I was valued and I was respected? Well, if that first is not happening in your life, you've got to change two things. You've got to change either the people in your life who are not giving you what you deserve, because you are born to be cherished. You are one of a kind. You know, you were made a masterpiece right out of the womb of your mama, and you deserve to have the dreams fulfilled in a life of celebration and joy. Talking about joy, to kick up your heels, go out and do the kind of dance you love dancing, doing the stuff you love with the people you love. So, you know, seizing the moment, seizing the day, and saying, my belief in what I'm doing and what I love. And I'm going to go back to something, because this is so important, as to what you said about starting with loving something, finding something, and just getting it, just going and doing it. A lot of young people will come to me as a mentor, and I'm always delighted with that. I mean, I've had that happen to me since I was 15 years old, with older people coming through, which is like, oh my goodness, I'm in this role. You know, so you get to be a good listener, a good sounding board. So I don't give advice. All of the things that you and I talk about on this show and the programs or workshops, the stuff that we all do independently and or collectively like this, it starts with the idea that when we really think about what's important, how do we make the decision about what to do? And so young people, this is the only time I give advice at all, ever. And I tell them that. I said, I'm going to give you my opinion about everything else that I know if I have the experience. If I don't, I can't. What I've done to work through my hardships, and I've had a ton of them, And that's what's made me the kind of person that I am. So now I'm free to do the things I need to do and I'm still challenged. But now I have this whole thing about life is absolutely astounding. Negative, positive, going to happen anyway. Which one do you choose?
Yeah.
Well, here's what I tell young people. They say, oh, Lou, or if they dare to call me Mr. Paradise, and I'm looking behind me from my dad, but I'm saying, like, don't call me Professor Lou or something, maybe that, but don't call me Mr. Paradise. And they say, I'm good at this, I'm good at that, I'm good at this, and I'm kind of confused of what to do. So my advisory comes from something to me that really affected what I believe. I thought to me what might have been one of the things that could have happened to me, even though it wasn't supposed to, and this was the advice. Find something you love so much. You're burning up with desire with it to such a degree you could hardly sleep at night. And you can't wait to wake up the next day to do more of that. And then find a way to sustain financially to do that thing. Because if you do that, if you accomplish that early enough, you will be happy as a lark for the rest of your life. You won't work a day in your life. That was where that whole thing came from, I believe. But just like you're saying, and just like this conversation, this unconditional opportunity to love what you do, love who you are, with all of the things that you are, your imperfections or whatever. Do not doubt for a moment or fear for a moment to allow those things that you think are imperfect about you to get in the way of your joy and your happiness and your peace. And if people can't love you unconditionally for who you are, you're just hanging around with the wrong people.
Yeah.
Because if you, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And as a matter of fact, and we're just going to go ahead and skip this break, not only are you hanging around with the wrong people, but you're hanging around with people that truly don't love you. They're not in a place where they can love in a way that's going to support you regardless of what's happening in your life. And
that's
so
exactly right.
It's really important to use a level of discernment about who you're going to hang around with.
That's right. That's exactly right. Again, here we go. We have the one thing about life is it's full of choices. How well we recognize to make the good, sound choices that are conducive to our spirit and who we are. A lot of times it's hard to know that. It's hard to be introspective because we're kind of doing things from an outward point of view. We don't have, and maybe this is kind of an important point. I don't want people to get confused about this being some religious tone, but here's what is really a purely important thing to know. We have a spiritual sense of life. We are not physical beings with some sort of there's a soul in there somewhere. That's, kind of like what people think if they're not aware and they're not tuned in. And tuned in means just get down to the basics. Because if that's what you believe, then you might as well, that kind of soul, you might as well be talking about your sneakers or your shoes or something like that.
That's right.
We happen to be spiritual beings in physical bodies, which means that we should pay attention to the spiritual life because it's cool. It doesn't lie to us. It doesn't tell us where to go that we shouldn't be. It doesn't put our feet where we're not supposed to be. It doesn't give us anything else but the peace of mind and happiness where we live and breathe. When you can't get to your peace and happiness, you probably haven't tuned into, hey, there's a whole life in there. There's a whole real being that is me in there that I haven't gone out to really embrace and understand. And it may come down to something as simple as this. If you're somebody who's a giver, you're giving life, you're giving hope, you're giving something beautiful and genuine from yourself, and you're providing everybody on your list. So we have this big list of needs and all the people on it, right? And you're giving that every single day to your kids, to your mom, to your dad, to your grandma, grandpa, husbands, wives, cousins, aunts, uncles, colleagues, associates, whatever it may be. Now, if you look at your list, when I ask people to do this all the time, I want you to look at the needs list and put all the people on the list, physically write it down of the people you give to and what they need and what you do to provide that need, and look at the entire list. Now, it's really okay if you put yourself on the bottom, the last person on the list of the things that need to happen and things you need to have happen for you, not just for everybody, but for you. It's okay to put yourself last. What's not cool is not putting yourself on the list.
Oh, I see where you're going with that. But you're right about that. right? And, let me ask you this, because I love what you just did. I love that. I love how you did that. It's also okay. Let's play with this. We're on a roll here. It's also okay to start by putting yourself on a list on the bottom. It's also okay to bump yourself up.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
that's exactly right.
You
Because
just
that's
bump
the next
yourself
phase.
up a little bit right there.
Exactly. It's saying, hey, look, I'm going to elevate myself. Why is that? Because I deserve it. Look, if we're not happy and we're not at peace and we don't get the things we need ourselves, how can we really give the other people that we love? We can give far more to them if we took care of the things that I'll give you. This is a perfect example. And
all right, do it.
Okay. So we're all on an airplane, and they go through all the safety checks and what to do when you've got to buckle, you got to put the life vest on if you come over water or whatever the case may be. And what's the thing they tell you about the oxygen? In case there's a depressurization in the plane and oxygen masks come down, when you are traveling with somebody, put your oxygen mask on yourself first before, even if it's your child, before you help someone else. Because if you don't, you can't help anyone else, not even the little boy or little girl that's sitting next to you. And so that's probably one of the key, kind of a picture. Think about that. Why do they tell you that? Because you will be unconscious and won't be able to help anybody, including yourself. But if you put your oxygen mask on first, you can be sustained now to help everyone. So it says, if we don't do the things we need to put that oxygen on, put that mask on, put the things we need on, put our happiness and joy, get on the excitement train, the entertaining thing about our life. Get on the excitement train. If people don't want to buy a ticket to your excitement train, tell them to go take another train. But never, right? Never. And so this is kind of like the picture of those kinds of real world circumstances that most people know, to say, this is why we do something for ourselves first, so we can do all the things we want to do for everyone else. Because if we don't fill up the needs of the person that's the giver, we don't rejuvenate our batteries. If we don't come to the point where, and I love what you said, bump yourself on the needs list. Say, wait a minute, I've given all these guys all this stuff all the time. I'm going to put myself in the middle of the list.
That's right.
That's right. And some days, just look at your list saying, some days you're required to put yourself at the top of the list. It's really okay. And that's what that's where your life, right? That's where your life, these are the beginnings and the fabric of this basic kind of stuff that people probably have heard and kind of know, that makes it possible to start your journey. Start your journey, not someone else's journey, because the other journeys don't belong to you, and your journey doesn't belong to anyone else, especially if it's not healthy and caring and loving, and you're feeling good about being you, and you're celebrating yourself, because you should, in the most healthy way. So it isn't about, hooray for myself and the heck with everybody else. It's like, you got to start with you first. That song, Peace on Earth, what does it say? That whole thing about it's got to start with me. Peace has got to start with me. Everybody deserves it. Everybody has it in them. You just have to unlock that little place in you that says, oh, my God, I can be at peace. I can be happy. I deserve it. And when you do, you'll unlock every other thing that's going to be a ripple effect to have the most beautiful flow and cascade of love and dreams and possibilities to everybody you know, everybody you love, including yourself. And that, to me, is like the script for where we can go with why things don't happen and how they can easily start to happen once we just think about the basics. And those are pretty basic.
Yeah, well, here's what I want to call the challenge opportunity right now. So if you're listening to this show, whether you're listening to the show live or you're listening to the download podcast or that you've subscribed to on Transformation Talk Radio, go to transformationtalkradio.com and you can subscribe or you can listen. Here's what we want you to do. Today, not tomorrow, today, whatever this day is for you, today, put the thing on your list that you love, just one thing, and do something to move towards that thing. Some of you are thinking, well, wow, that's a lot of steps. No, actually, what I'd like to say to you is put the thing on your list and then do it. But maybe you can't. Maybe you're not there. Maybe you need to do 3 things before you get to the place where you say, I'm worth it. I deserve it. But today, not tomorrow, right now, today, come up with the list, right? Put all those people on the list that you want to do stuff for. This morning I was out at some ungodly hour watering the lawn and the flowers and the plants for my friends who are off camping because I said I would. And I was out doing that, right? But that doesn't mean that I don't make myself a cup of coffee if I want. Do it on the list and do it because you got to start. And today is the day you start, right, Lou?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's the life list. It's a new way of looking at, hey, I'm going to framework what I want to do. And that's exactly right. Put it on the list and do it. Figure, what is it I love doing? Just do more of that. Once you do more of that, the rest of it will come to you as far as the practical application of everything else you need to do.
Yeah, I just want to say to everybody, if you put it on your list, do yourself a favor. Don't move it over to the next day. Don't move it over. But even if you don't get to it today, please don't give up. Don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on your joy. Don't give up. You know, we're not talking about perfection here, Lou. And I think sometimes when folks listen, they think, well, look at those two. No, it took me a lot of tries and a lot of lists. And, oh, my God, I had spreadsheets. I had a spreadsheet, you know, to sit down and do a spreadsheet for my life purpose and the things I wanted to love and do in life. I put a spreadsheet together. I thought my head was going to explode from that. But we can't give up. If we don't get to it today, please, no guilt, no shame. Right, Lou? I mean, what would have happened if you gave up?
Yeah, I mean, goodness, I would have, hey, look, I wouldn't have met any of the people. I wouldn't have had my children. I wouldn't have had my grandchildren. I wouldn't have met Aurora. We would have not had any of those things. We would have any little step. If I had given up, I had quit. I wouldn't have been able to help all the veterans that I help. And, you know, and here's how this works. We're not helping somebody else. People, as soon as you help somebody, you're helping yourself. You're fulfilling the connection of us being here. And like you said, Pat, we didn't get here overnight. That's the point.
No.
You know, and I'd like to go out there and say, look, if you can hear us, understand where we've come to in our mindset, and it's taken time over a period of time for us to be in our resolve and to be living the purposeful, meaningful life that we should, a vibrant life. This isn't because of anything else but us doing everything that we possibly could do in the worst times of making decisions. Hey, look, any decision you make is a good one. Even the worst ones you make. It's better than making no decisions at all, right?
Yeah.
Because you're doing something. You're taking action.
I know.
And that's how we get from one place to another.
I love it. Lou Paradise, everyone. Lou, we have lots more to come in the future shows we're going to be doing together. Thank you so much for today. And I want to ask you one last question. What's your personal message? What would you like to leave us with today? And thank you so much for all that you do.
Oh, well, thank you for that. And as well, mutually, right back to you. I want you to know, and maybe this is a really important one. Don't let anybody be a dream stealer from you. You know, have a dream, put it up there on the mantle. And here's what's probably most important. Don't be one of those folks who believes just because your family or friends or people you know never have done things that are dream inspired, that you are not going to be denied your destiny of realizing your dream. So you're not going to have the same situation. Just do it. Get out there. No matter what you do it from yourself, do it from your heart. You'll know how it feels, and you'll make the life that you want to make. It's opposed to the life you may be living now that maybe when you look at it, think, this is not cool. To get to the life you have always been born to live. And that is really, really important. You'll be happier, you'll be more at peace, and you'll be better for everybody who loves you and everybody who loves you back.
I love it. Lou Paradise, everybody. Much more to come. Vibrant, Purposeful Living. And this is Lou's show. We've got an entire series for the year planned. Special things coming to you. Things that it's such an honor for me to be part of this journey with Lou. Thank you, my friend.
Mutual, my friend, and all the beautiful blessings to you and all the people you love and all those folks out there listening. The same to you, and we mean that sincerely.
All right, everybody, we're going to take a shorty. We've got more coming up. Thank you, Benny. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Carter. And especially thanks to all of you that tune us in and turn us on every day. We'll see you in a little bit.
Thank you for listening to Vibrant Purposeful Living Radio with Lou Paradise. Tune in monthly with Lou and Dr. Pat on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Living a vibrant and purposeful life is more than a catchy slogan or soundbite. It's a way of being, your new life experience. Lou is your expert for awakening the vibrant life within you. For more information or to listen to this show, visit louparadise.com.
The preceding audio was via a Skype call.